Day 7, happy Easter. It's Easter Sunday. And it's my first ever Easter Sunday that I am on a trail away from family or people I know. No eggs, no Easter bunnies, no chocolates, none of that. But it's all good. It's again a lot of solitude. Heading from Trey Mountain Shelter through the day. The hike was gorgeous. It's actually one of the funniest days on the trail. So as I'm heading, I'm figuring out where to go, how far to go. It's almost a weekend, right? So day number 7. So what I have been working towards is having that ultimate goal in the morning, but setting a goal somewhere like half to 3/4 way through, then checking with my body how I feel, and then making that call rather to go farther or not. I think it's responsible to my body, it's responsible to my overall well-being, and also more sustainable than trying to push if I know that I can't. So after Trey, I was kind of hoping to go for Plum Orchard's shelter, but I was not fully certain. So there's a road crossing, maybe 4-ish miles before the shelter, and it's afternoonish. And I get there. Day was nice, but it drizzled here and there. But the temperature was good, and so I cross the road, I put my pack down, I sit down to change into my toe shoes, and there's this van with open doors. There are 2 backpacks out, so you can understand that there are 2 hikers resting in there. And then one guy starts talking to me out of the van, and this is this classical, thing like, don't go to the van, and we start talking about hiking and where I have gone and all that. And I start sharing my experiences. And I said how interesting it was to receive one trail magic. And then I'm already pretty much feeling like the Pavlov's dog, that experiment where the dog gets fed, but before he gets fed, the light goes off. So the next thing the light goes off, the dog's already drooling and expecting food. I'm like, this is the road crossing, and it's Sunday, so I really thought that there would be trail magic. And not this expectation, but it was just like really physiologically happening in my body, like, oh, there's a road crossing. And he's like, yeah, we have candy. And I'm looking and I'm laughing out loud. So there's the van with 2 guys, and there is me. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to the van to get candy. So we laugh about, things not to do. So they gave me candy. I think I got little Twix and little Snickers, and we start talking. Will and Caleb, they were both absolutely wonderful. We had nice conversations about hiking, the section they were doing. And then they offered me a beer. I'm like, yeah, sure, I'm going to take the beer from the van. So my first beer on day 7 on a trail, celebrating Easter. And then it started drizzling again. So we spent some time together. And in the meantime, a few people got dropped off in the same parking lot that were heading to the same shelter that I was. And not to run out of daylight, I decided to go. But yeah, the candy from the van and the beer from the van was pretty funny. Out of things that don't do that, and I made it to the Plum Orchard shelter. There were quite a few people there, and there was another homeless guy. So there we go again, was another homeless guy. This one was, I think, little with some mental something thing. He was just, talking a lot to himself. Also, like, he was not bothering anybody, but he was just there, and that adds some weirdness, I guess, to the shelter. But I did sleep in a shelter because there were other guys already there, and the homeless guy was not sleeping in a shelter. He was kind of like sleeping on the ground. Where the shelter floor ends, but there's still some overhang, so he was sleeping on the ground there. And I slept in a shelter, so that was my shelter experience after mice. And by now I know to hang up my bag. There are actually nails in places to hang your bag. To this day, I'm still the only person who is hiking with external frame backpack, so it's actually harder to hang it. Because it's taller and requires a little bit different setup. But one guy that was sleeping next to me actually had a nail, so he gave me a nail. I somehow, with my bare hands, figured out how to squeeze it in the gaps between the wood planks, and hung my bag there, and didn't have any mice incidents. So yeah, I guess a lot has changed since the day one, and I just becoming more accustomed to it and less things are bothering me. So that's good, becoming more savage, but in a good way.